Hi, my name is Jonathan Lopez, and I'm going to be teaching you today how to properly clean the surgical instruments and decontam. We're going to first start with putting on shoe covers. Just to make sure we don't slip and fall. It's very wet down there. And second, you want to get your waterproof gown. Avoid any possible fluids coming in contact with your body. Want to get your fluid resistant shield mask. And then finally you want to put on your gloves. And now we head on to the decontam area. Here we are at the decontamination area. Here's where we clean the instruments and prep them for the sterilization. I'm going to start you off with disassembling the tray. This is one of the instruments we do find inside this set. All instruments that have more than one component or more than two components, we're going to disassemble them and make sure that all areas come in contact with the water inside the sink, just to ensure proper cleaning. Alright, so once our instruments have been soaking in the water for a couple of minutes, we can start the process of washing them. One of the instruments we would find inside the set, one of these. Proper way to wash it, you brush it underneath the water to avoid anything splashing on you. With the brush, you're going to brush it towards the outside to avoid any particles falling into you. Just make sure you get it completely. You inspect it before returning it back into the tray. Another type of instrument you might find is a cannulated instrument. This one is a laparoscopic 5mm suction. These are a little bit more tricky to clean due to they have a hole in the middle all the way down. I don't know if you can see it, but with these type of instruments, we have to use a pipe cleaner in order to get every debris out inside of the suction. So we take our pipe cleaner and make sure everything comes out clean on the other side. Bring it back. Repeat it. So again, we clean the outside of the suction tip. And since it's a cannulated instrument, we're going to flush it. Take our syringe. The other side, hold it. Once again, to make sure. Coming out nice and clean. You inspect down the shaft just to ensure that there's no debris inside the suction tip. Another instrument you can't find is the laparoscopic Coheed cannula. There's another cannulated instrument, so we're going to have to flush it. This one we can't use the pipe cleaner through it because there's some components inside the middle of it, but a good flush will do the job. So just make sure we're brushing it under the water to avoid anything splashing back up to us. Once you use the toothbrush, we're going to use the syringe to flush it out. Make sure everything comes out nice and clean. Once again. And like I mentioned earlier, this is an instrument that has more than one component. It has to be disassembled completely in order for it to get properly cleaned. And we store it inside the tray just as this. And this rack, this is another part of the set inside the tray. This is where you got all your graspers. This is where you got your microline needle holders, your scissors. All of this is cannulated, so all of this has to be flushed thoroughly because it got a lot of gunk and a lot of blood in there, and it's something we don't want on the operating room. So what we do is submerge it inside. We take our syringe again. We start flushing all the cannulas inside. Take again. Make sure we properly flush them at least 3 times on each side, just to make sure that we get all that blood out. You can see the water on the other side over here, on the opposite side of the one I'm working on. If you look right here, you shouldn't be able to see a red stream of blood coming out the other side. That ensures you that it's a properly clean instrument. You got red stuff coming out, you got to flush it as many times as possible just in order to get all that red stuff out. Alright, there you have it. Got a full rack clean. And now then we're going to assemble it back into the tray. So over here you can appreciate what is a complete set put all together. You got your levels, you got your bottom level, you got your middle level in this area, and again you got your top level with your graspers and needle holders. And it's ready to be sterilized. In this process, what we're going to do, we're going to use a stringer for all the stringer instruments, which is needle holders, Babcock, the Kelly clamps. What we're going to do, we're going to put it in a nice way so that when the tray reaches the room, it is easily accessible for the person in charge in the operating room to sort the instruments and pass them down to the surgeon. So we're going to do, I already have a preset over here. There's many ways to do it. This is the way I prefer to do it. Everything hanging down. Each and every single instrument goes inside the stringer. It's a little tricky at the beginning because when you start doing this, it's quite hard to try to find out the holes at the same time. But like they say, practice makes perfect. And I'm slowly getting there. Once we have all the instruments together, we want to make sure put the lock on it so when the tray gets moved around, anything doesn't fall apart and everything's a mess inside the tray. So once we got all that, we center it in the middle over here. Once we do, bring it back inside the tray. Make sure it fits nice and neat. My My intention for this video is for any employee that works in decontamination area to practice some safe procedures and proper techniques in how to wash an instrument so that patients can receive the optimum care he can. Once our instrument has been cleaned, our instrument is now ready to put into the tunnel wash. From there on, it's going to be power wash with chemicals and detergents to remove any remaining bacteria, any remaining bioburden that might be still stuck on the instrument. With that process, we're going to transfer our clean tray to the tray that we just cleaned. We're going to put it together in this rack. And this little rack is going to be completely inside the tunnel wash. If you follow me, I'll show you the magical journey this rack takes to the tunnel. First thing we gotta do, we gotta make sure that our water entry ports are aligned with the ones in the machine. After we make sure that those are aligned, we're gonna align the cart with the launcher. Make sure it's locked. And we push our tray back in. And from there on, the washer takes care of everything else. They receive it on the other side where it's going to be completely sterilized. With this video, I encourage you to practice the safe cleaning of the instrument. This is something that is going to reach the patient, and definitely it's something to take under consideration. It's not just thinking about the patient as a patient, just thinking as a own family member. You wouldn't want any instrument to be touching your family member. And this is why I encourage you to practice these safe techniques in order to get a successful process instrument during the whole sterilization period. My name is Jonathan Lopez, and this is the proper technique how to wash an instrument. Thank you.